Right, this thing on? Yes, it is. Right, it's Mooch. What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. Join me for a nice evening ride. Sun's out. And today I thought we'd cover a subject that a couple of my friends have asked me about. And they said it might make a good video idea because lots of people ask me the question. And that is because I sometimes show up to work or wherever I'm going on a motorbike, or I show up in a car, as a lot of us probably do. Some of us only have one and we decide to commute on a bike, or we decide to have a car to commute on. Now, the subject of today's video is what is better. Is it a car to commute into work on and just generally live with day to day, festival speed signs, or is it a motorcycle? Now, if that interests you and you're thinking about that, you're in that dilemma, stick around, grab a cup of tea, and join me after the intro and we'll have a little chat about it. World's most bumpy bit of road. Okay, so commuting on a motorcycle. Let's start with the motorcycles. There is obviously pros and cons to both. When I was younger, I started off with purely commuting on a motorcycle. When I had my first 50cc bike, I had a 125, then I went to a 600 and then a 1000. And they were all, apart from my 50cc, they were super sport. So I was commuting every day to work. I think the last bike I used to commute on was a Aprilia RSVR 1000 Milli. And that was a lovely bike. I'll be honest, my wrists ache a lot. It used to make my wrists ache, and that I never got that on the GSXR. I don't know what the difference is, but I guess it's just slightly more aggressive. And I was young and my wrists were fine. I never had any issues medically with my wrists or bones or anything like that. Touch wood. There's obviously a few benefits to having a motorcycle, and the major one is traffic. If you have a car and a bike and you want to get somewhere on time, and I find myself in this position quite a lot of the time, and my local town, which is consistently rammed, I always just get on the bike. It's just easier. Because you can do things like that and just slip past 3 or 4 cars, as well as just filter through tons of traffic, whether it's on the motorway, whether it's in a town, and the bike will get you there on time. There's not much traffic in the world that a bike can't get through. Look at places like India and these heavy places like Thailand and heavily dense places. They all use motorcycles because they're just convenient, easy. Now, that's all well and good, getting to the place on time. Now, the problem I had with a motorcycle and living with a motorcycle every day are things like the gear. Now, I've always been a person that's very gear conscious, you could say. I've always wanted to have good gear on, and I always like to gear up before I go. And also, when I was younger, it was a bit of a cost thing. Like, I got what I could afford, and at the time, I bought a second-hand pair of Joe Rocket leathers. On their last legs they were. The armour was in bits. But I wanted a good set of leathers-ish, and that's all I could afford, really. I had some proper boots. I got some proper boots that my mum and dad bought me for my birthday, and obviously I got the only helmet that I could afford at the time, which was an AGV K3 Guy Martin replica. There's a little book club going on there. They're all like, who the hell is that absolute arsewipe on a motorcycle making all that noise? Sorry. And yeah, so I had to get in full leathers pretty much every day with boots, gloves, helmet, and I actually got used to it. And it was only when I started going to the hairdresser or the barber and that, and I used to get all this hair down my back. Maybe you could blame that on being a bad barber at the time, because at the moment, now I never get that, but back then I used to hate getting the hair down my back and being hot in the summer, full leathers, commuting in a hot town. It's just horrendous. So I quickly got bored of it, and I never fell out of love with motorcycles, but I got a little bit bored of putting all the gear on and then when I got to the sort of age where I fancied a car, just for that ease of just getting in a car without putting all the gear on, I got a car, I sold my bike, and I had a car for a while. And the benefits of a car are obvious. Safety being the biggest. I mean, if you're a motorcyclist, safety is always probably on your mind, or maybe not so much if, you know, you're commuting every day on a bike. You take that risk, you know what the risks are. And yeah, the car was great. You know, you got aircon, music, you can sit in traffic and just chill out. That being said, traffic is boring as hell, regardless of the music you're playing. And I've recently commuted a couple of times in a car where I've been stuck in traffic and absolutely loathed it. I don't like being stuck in traffic. I just sit there thinking this is a complete waste of my life. And I think if I was on my bike, I would be having a great amount of fun, and I'd be just zipping past all this traffic. And I find slipping through all the cars in the town quite fun. It is a fun little thing to do, just nipping in and out. You do actually get some people though that are like a little bit of arseholes about it. They like pull in front of you, or I had a guy have a go at me once because I was like filtering down the middle of a dual carriageway. He just literally just started having a go at me, saying you're not allowed to do this. Clearly didn't know what he was talking about and just embarrassed himself. But that being, you know, that aside, motorcycling, you know, has its place, and especially in busier towns. Motorcycling is obviously cheaper than a car, depending on what bike you have. Obviously, if you commute on a Kawasaki H2 or something like that, it's probably not cheaper. But if you just buy an average bike, the insurance is cheaper, the petrol is cheaper, everything is cheaper. You obviously do have to buy good gear or gear. I recently bought a pair of trousers on Amazon for 60 quid. I made sure they were EU certified, but it was a bit of an experiment really. I thought I'd buy these because I don't really want to spend any more money on trousers, because I've got so much stuff and I only need them for a week. I just wanted some textile trousers so I don't have to wear full leathers when I go to Europe in a week. So by the time you're watching this, I'll probably either be in Europe or on my way or back, who knows. Bikes are also just so much fun. There is also other limits to motorcycles, and that's stuff like how much I can take on the back of my bike or my backpack. It always used to limit me a little bit to like when I wanted shopping or when I wanted to get something in town. You have to carry around all your leathers or helmet or, you know, all your stuff. So it's not the most convenient thing to live with on a day-to-day basis. And I kind of learned that as I got a bit older. I thought bikes are not actually more convenient than cars. They aren't. They just aren't. They're just better at going through traffic, and they'll get you there quicker and you'll have more fun. Everything else a car is probably better at, because you sit in comfort. You can listen. I know you can listen to music on a bike, but let's be honest, the car stereo is always going to be a pair of headphones, a Bluetooth set of headphones that you're going to have on a motorcycle helmet most of the time, I imagine. There probably is some high-end ones you can get. But yeah, a friend of mine wants to buy a 125, and shout out to you, Sam, for being one of the people that gave me this idea for this video. The other being my good friend James. And he was asking me what's good to get. What's a good 125 and what gear to get, because he wants to commute daily on a motorcycle rather than a car. And he wants to get 125 just to get used to motorcycling and then move on to a slightly bigger bike. And honestly, it makes for a good idea. But one bit of advice I would give before I blabble on too much about, if you want a motorcycle to commute with, it's great fun, don't get me wrong. Just buy the appropriate gear for it. And I'm not saying you need a full set of leathers like I did. That's, to be honest, it's not overkill, but it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Oh, bike sounds so good through here. I miss my MT-10. But anyway, yeah, buy some like good like urban gear. I bought these Alpine Stars boots a little while back, and I also bought some jeans. Went to my local Helmet City in Chichester, where the guys in there give me the best advice. They're solid advice. I'll always shout out to them guys. I'm not sponsored by Helmet City. but if they want to sponsor me, they can. I'm just probably 90,000 subscribers too short. But yeah, they always give me solid advice, and I really like the guys in there. So hit up a Helmet City somewhere and ask them for some good advice as to what gear is comfortable but safe. I always get a safety certified bit of gear, like a CE level 1 or 2, and get the gear that suits your daily riding. If you only have a bike for the weekend, then a full set of leathers is probably the best idea. But if you want to commute into town every day, then you might want some textiles. You might not want proper boots, just like trainer style boots, because they're so much more convenient than strapping up boots. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Even gloves, you get the short-handed gloves. They're easier to get on, and yeah, you can build an outfit to suit your own style of riding and style itself. So in all honesty, it does come down to situation, you know, money wise, as well as where you work or where you're going to actually use your bike. For me, I'm fortunate where I've got both, and I can choose on a daily basis. And if I'm running really late, I'll generally hop on my motorbike and I'll get to work, and I don't have to walk from my car park into my work area, which is about 10 minutes. It saves me 10 minutes. But if I'm not really bothered and it's really cold or it's really hot, then the car usually wins, because I can put all my stuff in it, I can put aircon on it, and it's just a nicer experience in traffic, because that's what it comes down to really. I choose a bike every day over a car, but commuting and certain situations, the car is just a nicer experience. But hell, if you want a bike, just get one, because you won't like it until you scratch the itch. You'll never be satisfied. Satisfy that itch and get a bike. I am biased. I mean, my literal YouTube name is Bike Like Bike, so I'm always going to recommend the bike. Anyway guys, I hope you find this video good and helpful and useful to you. If you do follow my channel on a regular basis, I am still working on the project bike in the background. Haven't really had much time to do it lately in the last week or so, because I'm obviously going to Europe in a couple of days, so I've needed to prepare for that, pack for that, get the GS ready because we're going on the GS, and then I've also got to get this ready because I'm going back to Europe and we're heading down into the Alps on both occasions. So I shall video the whole experience again, hopefully give you guys some good content, and if you want to see that, please press the subscribe button. Hope you guys are keeping well, and I shall catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.